a musician. It's me, your host, Helen Hendricks. Today I wanted to talk about habits that helped me to grow as a person and also as a singer. Personal development is a big part of a lot of creative career fields, and it is very much prevalent in music. So I know that as a musician, that's like at the forefront of my mind most days. And so I wanted to share some of the things that really helped me to kickstart that and get that going. So my number one tip would be regular journaling. I journal every single day. I do morning pages. If you're not familiar with that, it's from Julia Cameron's book, The Artist Way. What it is like 3 pages of free just writing for the very first thing you do when you wake up. And that helps me to kind of sort through anything I was dealing with the day before. So it really helps me to start the day fresh by just making sure that I have all my loose ends all tied up. The other thing that helps me do is to process feelings. Dealing with your big emotions is really important because it translates on stage or in your rehearsal environments. So if I'm emotionally not doing well, I can't do my best job at work, in lessons, in performances. So I really need to make sure that I'm on top of my mental health. Journaling also has been one of the biggest tools in me being able to realize, set, and then accomplish goals, because it's just a way for me to check in with myself and evaluate how I'm doing in a really organized, regular way. And it just helps me to know myself. As an artist, it's super important. You need to really understand what your priorities are, who you are as a person, who you are as an artist, so that you know what you're bringing to the table. Journaling is my number one tip. If you don't do that, absolutely add it. This is my little journal I use. It's literally a composition notebook that I covered in tape and then put a card on that I actually really like it. I think it's cute. So it doesn't have to be anything absolutely insane. You don't need to go spend a lot of money to get started. Habit number 2 is reading a lot. I am a big reader. I spend a lot of time with audiobooks. This is it's not really the to be read stack, but as I'm looking for new books, these are ones that I'm really interested in. But these are generally personal development books, and I read also a lot of fiction because I like to keep my imagination nice and sharp, Reading has been really important. It just allows me to learn. I'm no longer a student. I don't go to university anymore. And so I noticed that I don't get to learn in the same way that I used to when I was a student, when that was the main thing that I was doing day in and day out. So reading helps me really keep on track of my learning and make sure that I'm always expanding as a person. Reading as a singer is really important because it helps me understand types of people that maybe I don't spend a lot of time around, or just people who are really different than I am. And so I can bring a new depth to my character and really get to understand them. Now we have meditation. This has been a big one for me. I started this, probably in August of last year. So I haven't been doing it for a full year yet, but I've been doing about most days 10 minutes, some days 5 minutes. And it really helps me just center myself, and it gives me time to connect with myself because as a freelance musician, man, I am always on the go, and it feels like after I wake up and have my initial kind of me time, the rest of the day is just absolutely gets away from me. It's absolutely insane. Having a second to just really call on a sense of calm and get my mind just all smoothed out and figured out for the day really helps me just conquer whatever comes my way in the day. When you have this sense of calm and stillness that you cultivate when you're meditating, I notice that I can call on that when I'm performing, and that is really important for me. In one of the classes I took, we did an exercise where you meditate, you get the calm feeling, and then you feel it as you push your big toe down. And eventually, if you do that enough, you start to associate that feeling with pushing your toe down. So now whenever I need to, I want to maybe quiet the waters a little bit before I go on stage, I do that, and I notice it works super well. And this is something that happens when you've been meditating for a long time. Okay, the next one is having a really organized calendar. Last month I was kicking myself because my calendar was not very organized. I double booked myself. I was exhausted the whole time. The biggest benefit for me of having a really organized calendar is not double booking myself. I can't. I have my calendar in front of me. I look at it and I know I'm not free, so I don't make commitments when I'm not available for them. It provides me with mental clarity. I remember when I started my studio and I started to get a lot of students, and I had I literally at one point had over 18 students, and I was so anxious every day when I woke up because I didn't actually know what my day needed to look like, and I was so terrified that I was going to forget a lesson or something. So just the mental clarity of knowing exactly what I need to do today, and I'm going to get it all done because I took time to put it in my calendar, and I always do that, so I know that anything I need to do is on the calendar. Game changing. And the other thing about having a really organized calendar, it just helps me to understand where am I allocating my emotional resources. And it helps me see when I've maybe put too much on my plate just like visually, I understand like, oh my gosh, no wonder I feel really like run down and frustrated. I have taken on way too much. And just, it gives me a visual cue of like, it is time to be very nice to myself and like put on the kid gloves with myself because, oh my God, I am dealing with a lot in my life. Cannot recommend it enough. Number 5. And this is one that really, I die inside every time I do it. And it is self-promotion. As a singer, self-promotion, super important. Any instrumentalist, if you want any sort of like, you know, if you're working on a solo career, if you're working on a studio, it's so helpful because people simply cannot hire you if they don't know that you exist. Right? On that premise alone, you have to be promoting yourself if you're in an industry where like you're in charge of like going out and like kind of like getting leads and getting people interested in you. You need to have places where if someone hears about you and is interested in like you're teaching, you're singing, you're playing, whatever it is, they can go and like get maybe a little idea of what you do and people will reach out to you and contact you. So important. Like literally. And I feel so weird. I remember in the beginning when I was like starting to like post regularly on social media and stuff, I was like, this is the cringiest thing I've ever done. It's horrible. Why am I doing this? I feel so yucky. And it's really important. And I've been able to meet people that have been really amazing, like mentors, and really helpful and giving me really amazing advice. You gotta do it. I recommend it. You don't gotta do it. I'm not gonna tell you what you have to do, but I'm gonna say that that's been a big game changer for me, and I recommend it. And I don't even have like a huge social media following or anything. For number 6, we got rigid daily practice. And rigid doesn't mean like not fun. Rigid practice is still fun, but it's just rigid in the sense that like I will be doing this every day. I will say that I don't do this anymore. I used to be like a big stickler for really, really rigid daily practice. I do not go to bed until I practice. And that helped me in the beginning to really cultivate a sense of discipline for my art form and to really have a practice where I just show up for myself every day. Now, if there's a day when maybe I have a ton of performances or a ton of rehearsals and I'm like, I don't have the voice to practice, I forgive myself. I'm okay. I let it go. But there were several years where that was a really essential component of my development. And it's easier when you have to do it every day, when you tell yourself you're not going to miss a day. And it doesn't have to be the most incredible practice session you've ever had every day. Every day is not going to be a 3-hour, absolutely like, we're killing it. Sometimes you have 30 minutes where you sit down and maybe you just sort through your cadenzas for a piece and you really iron out a couple of small key details. That work is going to compound and it's going to get you a lot farther to do a small amount of work on a very consistent basis than like absolutely just like cramming 2 weeks before a performance or a competition. You're going to grow consistently and you will always be prepared when things come your way. Random auditions pop up. You're ready because you've been polishing all your repertoire and you are ready to go. If you want to get really, really strict with it, like block out the time in your very organized calendar and do not budge. Okay, number 7 is something I've never seen anyone talk about, but it's doing like a 10-minute brain dump or a 10-minute idea brainstorm. This is a huge game changer for me. So it helps me discover new passions. Basically what I do is I'll set a timer on my phone for 10 minutes, and then I will just write all the ideas that I can possibly come up with in those 10 minutes, and I get as much onto paper as I'm able to. As a creative person, I've got a lot of ideas always bouncing around in my head, and so just taking a second to grab them out of thin air and put them on a page really helps me to actually take action on ideas instead of just like every 3 weeks being like, oh yeah, that was a good idea. I should do something with that someday. Do it. Write it down and you can actually get something done. If I have a problem in my life that I'm really frustrated, like a wall I'm up against, I can just take 10 minutes and brainstorm about that problem. And most of the time, I will come across several really good solutions that I can try. And maybe they don't all work, but they all get me closer to fixing whatever it is I'm working on. Number 8. Okay, number 8 is looking for gaps to fill. So this is kind of related to the brain dump and brainstorm. I like to search and evaluate my own self and think like, okay, where are some areas in life where I have potential for growth? Or where are some things where I'm just like, I wish I had that skill. I wish I was better at this. And if you look at yourself in that way and you really evaluate where you think you have opportunities to grow, you will be shocked at how well-rounded you will be after you start to do that on a regular basis. One thing I'm really working on is my sight reading. And so I did a bunch of work to like fill in that gap because I knew it was important to me. And now, I mean, I don't sight read like an absolute beast, but I do like show up and hold my own, and that is big for me, and I'm really happy about that. Personal development for me leads to a sense of satisfaction and just feeling really complete and content with myself. A well-rounded human being is a happy performer. You bring that with you onto stage. So just taking the time to cultivate yourself and who you are immediately translates into your art. That's what we all want. Filling the gaps. Looking for and then filling. Number 9 is like really random and might feel like it's not at all related to anything musical. But that is doing abs every single day. And more the issue was I had always been like, okay, I'm going to just do abs every single day. And I never stuck with it. And now I've stuck with it for about 7 or 8 months straight. I have not missed a single day. And I'm confident that I will not miss a single day ever again until I actively choose to miss it. And that knowledge that I can do something every day on such a consistent basis is so powerful. And it has been a driving force that has helped me cultivate so many other skills. Because I think like, well, yeah, duh, I can sit down and practice every day. Like, I can do abs every day. And I did not want to do that every day. And also, it has been really helpful for my singing, I noticed when I started to do abs, like, and I got over that initial hurdle and I started to get some more like muscle and strength build up in my abs, it was really good for the voice. There was maybe times where I didn't feel like I had all the support. Like the muscles were not as strong as I wanted them to be. And as soon as they got stronger, I felt like I had more core in my sound. So consider doing abs every day, but more of just like picking something and sticking with it. Number 10 is getting out of my comfort zone. So this is something I try to do really regularly. You know, I don't want to be too uncomfortable in life. I want to be still happy and like, there's a difference between like I'm out of the comfort zone and like I'm wildly anxious and like very close to not being able to function anymore, right? So like, you know, we want to just stay right outside of the comfort zone. What is like the optimal zone of development? You're like just a little bit outside and then like you get more comfortable and your like circle of what you're comfortable doing expands. It provides me with the knowledge that I can do hard things. Just push the envelope a little bit more with how much, you know, how difficult the things that I'm taking on can be. So it also helps me to not be stagnant in my career. I want to have a long career. I want to, you know, sing a good at least 40 years, but hopefully more. You do anything for 40 years and it can get boring. So constantly just like finding a little something that's like slightly off the beaten path. And then it also helps you to always look for the next opportunity. You get excited about doing scary things because you know what's coming. Like, you know that there's a lot of growth on the other side of getting over that scary thing. And so you're constantly looking for the next thing where you're like, where can I stretch myself a little bit? That's a great way to live my life. I can't recommend it enough. So these are my 10 habits that help me grow as a person and as a singer. So if you are super fond of any of these, feel free to reach out and like let me know. Let's have a discussion about it, you know? And if you have any other habits that have really, really helped you to grow as a person, hit me up. I would love to hear about it. I am always looking for new ideas. So I think that's it for me today. But yeah, if you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, please keep that to yourself. Thank you so much. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Bye. Thank you so much.